Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Welcome to another powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. My family. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I know you haven't heard from your sister in a couple of weeks. You probably said, where that Dr. My been? I've been with family. I've been resting. And I've also been working. The work doesn't stop, right? The work doesn't stop. But I know I haven't been with you in a couple of weeks. A lot of great stuff has been happening, family. If you haven't heard, I did publish it on Facebook and IG, and even on my YouTube community post. But your sister won. Look at this podcast of the year from the Baltimore Crown Awards. So I do want to thank Baltimore and thank everyone who voted for me, voted for my podcast, right? Truth to Power Talk with Dr. Ma'at to win the podcast of the year. So that happened. And then look at this. Let me bring up one of my students. All right. One of my students, he's actually the lead instructor for my program, Conscious Ingenuity. He won the President's Award during our commencement ceremony at Morgan. He actually won it. And I was so proud of him, so proud of him. And he won it as a result of the work that he has done through the Conscious Ingenuity program, the local, national, and international work that he's done. And hold on, let me highlight this young warrior. Shout out to Mr. Amon Anderson. Let me bring it on over here so you all can see it. It says right here, look at this. Greetings, family. I said, please join me in congratulating Mr. Amon Anderson. Look at this, family. He was the recipient of the President's Second Mile Award at Morgan State University's commencement. This is the highest special recognition an undergraduate student can receive, awarded for outstanding integrity, leadership, service, and academic excellence. I said, Mr. Amon Anderson has done truly exceptional work serving Black communities locally, nationally, and internationally through the Conscious Ingenuity program, all while operating with the highest integrity and demonstrating remarkable leadership. I said he is more deserving of this honor. So here he is, family, standing next to President David Wilson at Morgan State and Provost U. I'm sorry. And this is the work. This is me standing outside. I was I was sitting with the faculty and I jumped up. As soon as he got on stage, I'm in the front row yelling like that was my son. And he is my son, right? He's our son. And so I was there posing with him. That's him and his award. That's him at one of the schools in Baltimore City. That's him in Brooklyn, New York at a science fair. That's him in Ghana at one school. And I believe we were in Accra at this school. And then one of the other schools we were in Cape Coast or Elmina. This is him working through the UACI STEM program. This is him speaking at a reparations rally in DC. And this is him at a rally for justice. There was a Black bookstore that was receiving a lot of threats from white supremacists. And we went there and stood alongside other Black organizations. So anyway, that happened. And then, family, man, let's scroll up. Dr. Anthony T. Browder just released his book, From the Browder File, Volume 3. He dropped that on the day of Nia, which is, I believe, the 5th day of Kwanzaa. So shout out to Anthony T. Browder, Dr. Anthony T. Browder, Baba Anthony T. Browder. So make sure that you grab From the Browder File, Volume 3. It's out. All right. And please get it from a Black-owned bookstore, family. You can call Everyone's Place in Baltimore. They will ship the book to you. Okay. Or if you're in DC, get it from Sankofa Bookstore. But try to make sure that you get his book from a Black-owned bookstore. All right. A lot of good stuff has been happening, family. The UACI STEM camp was a success. We had a winter STEM camp. And hold on, y'all. Let me bring up some stuff here. We had the UACI Winter STEM Camp. Look at it. I'm showing y'all all my stuff. I ain't got nothing to hide from y'all. This is my downloads folder. So these are the kids who attended, the participants. These were our scholars, all right, for the UACI Winter STEM Camp, which took place from December the 29th through January the 2nd. Shame on you if you didn't have your babies in the STEM camp where they learned about Black people in STEM, people like Mary W. Jackson. They learned about George Washington Carver. They also learned about Mae Jemison. They also learned about Jesse Russell, all while learning about the fundamentals of Python coding. So I want to show you all what our beginners, hold on, let me show you what our beginners were able to do By the time the camp was over, our beginners was coded in Python, being able to transmit signals using Python code, writing functions, writing conditional statements, declaring variables. This is what our beginner code looked like by the end of camp. And this is what we had an advanced group, our high schoolers, and this is what they were doing by the end of camp. All right. And so it was a beautiful camp. Baba had some good lessons. This is one of his lessons right here on Mae Jemison. All right. And so Baba did a wonderful job. Shout out to Baba Amin of the Uhuru Academy. Did a wonderful job teaching them their Black history in STEM. And then he also every day he honored our ancestors. We honored our ancestors. So he talked to them about various ancestors. And if you look at this ancestor board, you see Dr. King, Rosa Parks, Nina Simone, Harriet Tubman, Maya Angelou, and Frederick Douglass. So he did that. He led that. And then check this out. Baba also gave them an African proverb every day, man. Every day he gave them an African proverb. This one said, "He who eats alone cannot discuss the taste of the food with others." And he unpacked African ancient wisdom with our babies every day. So family, make sure moving forward, come on, make sure that you enroll your child in the UACI STEM camp. The summer cycle is coming. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. The summer cycle is coming. It's free. We're taking 50 children, 50 children, all right? 50 children, and it's free. I want to keep saying that. It's free. So make sure you enroll your child in the UACI STEM camp ASAP. Also, family, we have other programs available. You can head on over to Conscious Ingenuity Institute. I'm sorry, consciousingenuity.org. Hold on. Let me drop this in the chat, because not only do we have the UACI STEM camp, we also have the ASAFO and the Agoji training camps coming up this summer. These are all boy and all girl camps. Shout out to PLM. Shout out to Baba Amin. I'm not Baba Amin. Baba Emo Tep Fatiyu. Shout out to Mama Gina Fatiyu. And so we have the ASAFO training camp and the Agoji training camps coming up. These are all boy, all girl camps, which are in person in Baltimore. We have people from up and down the East Coast coming to Baltimore to spend a week with us, to send their children through this camp where we teach, or we cultivate critical thinking skills. We focus on character development, conflict resolution. They're learning some STEM in this. They also learn other life skills. And so family, make sure that you come on over here to consciousingenuity.org. See, family, on this site, on this program, on this platform, we don't just talk about problems and what's going on. We talk solutions. And not only do we talk solutions, we promote, and we implement solutions. Ashe. So make sure that you head on over to UACI STEM Camp. I have the URL up. Head on over to UACISTEMcamp.com, okay, to get your child enrolled in the UACI STEM Camp summer cycle. All right. All the information is on the site. And head on over to consciousingenuity.org to get your child in other programs, such as the ASAFO training camp, such as the Agoji training camp, such as the Conscious Ingenuity program, which is a year-round STEM program. And I got to do a better job, I guess, at promoting this stuff, because I got people hitting me up on Instagram. They think that I'm a daggone just a podcaster. And I said, no, man, I use YouTube as a means of educating my people, no more than I do in the classroom, but that's not my main job. That's not what I do. Actually, my main job of my career, my passion, is to cultivate, engineers, Black engineers who are rooted in our culture and rooted in community. Ashe. So that's what Dr. Ma'at is very passionate about, and also introducing educational frameworks that will support the learning of STEM concepts for Black African people. So that's what I do. I.e., I'm an African-centered engineering educator. That's what I do. So anyway, family, you see tonight's topic: should Black people be concerned with the U.S. strikes on Venezuela? Right? It's a lot of that. People are talking about it. It's everywhere. It's on YouTube, all social media, YouTube, Instagram. People are talking about it on TikTok. People are talking about it on the local news, right? Should Black people be concerned with the U.S. strikes on Venezuela? And so I brought with me my brothers. I like to, bring my brothers on to build And so I'm bringing on Wise the Dome TV, my brother Rakim. I have my brother Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler in the building. Peace to the Warrior Scholars. How are you Warriors doing this evening?
Peace,
Peace,
peace, and
peace.
blessings.
Yeah, doing well. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for coming, brother. I know you busy. You got your stuff going on. You read 50 million books. You read 50 million books. You're working. You have your own podcast. Why is the Dome TV family? You all got to check that out. You got to check that out. Why is the Dome TV? He brings on some powerful folks to have some have powerful builds. So make sure you check out Why is the Dome TV on YouTube. Then you got Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler. He's busy, man. Rakim, this brother, I was thinking about Dr. Asar yesterday. And Doc, I never said this to you, and I'm going to say it to you publicly. I was sitting there thinking about you, and I was thinking about Dr. Amos Wilson's definition of a family, right? He talks about that in Blueprint for Black Power. I don't know if it was in chapter 3, Rakim, where he talks about family and culture, but I know it's in, yeah. Look, he know. Look, I don't want to tell it why he'll check me. Not mine. That's not the chapter. but he talked about the family being a system, right? And he said it's a system in which the family, the people who belong to that system, they pull together their resources, their talent, their skills, their energy, right? Their resources to meet their basic physiological needs of food, clothing, and shelter. I'm adding to what he's saying: food, clothing, and shelter. They give each other a sense of belonging, safety, support, and with the aim to ensure the survival of the family. A, and then B, that each member in the family self-actualizes. When I sat and thought about the definition and what Dr. Amos Wilson was saying, I immediately thought about Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler. Literally, he has the Temple of New African Thought. He has a clinic, an African-centered clinic, where he is healing Black people, all people. I think you do have other people who come, right, Dr. Asar?
Yeah,
but your focus is really
1%.
us. Yeah, it's us, right? 1%, right? Most of your clients is us. So he's in the mental health. He's healing us. He brings lectures, to Baltimore. And then, we have a lot of things going on in Baltimore. People always at his space, Kwanzaa celebration. He does that. His wife, he and his wife own African Diasporan Soul, right? It's a soul. It's African Diasporan. It's Diasporan Soul Food, Dr. Asar.
Diasporan Soul, Jamaican and American fusion.
Infusion. So they had that. So you got that business going on. And guess what, Brother Rakim? When I go there, his sons are there. His sons are there. Right. They're there working. Then his father has what is Baba teaching down there? He has a dojo. So it's a family affair. You get what I'm saying? It's a family affair. And this is on top of what he does for the community. Then he also teaches. Like I said, Dag, I thought I was busy, Dr. Asar, right. But when I sat down and I thought about you, I said, dang, Dr. Asar is really doing it. You know what I mean? And I just want to give you your flowers, Dr. Asar, while you can
shout out Dr. Asar. Shout out you too as well, Dr. Maya. Thank y'all for all y'all do.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, Warrior, and likewise. So
I appreciate and it's how they say in the Nation of Islam, I'm just a reflection of you.
Ashe, man. But so what are your what do you all think about this whole what happened in Venezuela, what Trump did? He announced that they struck the military compounds. First they struck some boats that they said was allegedly carrying narcotics to the United States, and then they went from that to striking some military compounds in Venezuela. And I did hear that I think so far the count is like 40 people have died. And so when you first heard about it, and I know Dr. Asar, you was like, I didn't really dig too deep, but when you just kind of got a whiff of it on social media, what were your knee-jerk reactions?
Well, I'll go since I know my brother Rakim is the expert here, and I just go with my qualitative. I mean, my conceptualization as I do. The first thing that I thought of, and I've been thinking of since Trump has been in this office, and his semblance or resemblance of those like a Mussolini, and I think about empire, and I think since Trump has been in the office, he has not been slight of trying to expand in his own way what he called the whatever empire he wants to call it, the Trump empire, the U.S. empire or what have you. It's to me it's very evident that he wants to go down in history as one who has expanded this empire, and in a very in a very Mussolinian type of way.
Mm. Mm.
Absolutely.
So that was your knee jerk reaction, Doc. That you
Yeah,
like, yeah, okay, I got
definitely
you.
is nothing more. I have my assessment is that yes.
I'm with you, Rakeem. What you think, brother?
Yeah. I had woke up that morning and saw it all over social media. First, you know what I'm saying? Just gives you that feeling, you know what I mean? Because we're in some very, very trying times. Uh, Western imperialism is in your face, never went away, but it's so in your face at this moment. You can't help but feel for our brothers and sisters all over the world, and our brothers and sisters here in America who are affected by it, which is all of us. So I just wanted to set the stage there. First, though, America is an imperialist nation, right? It's built off of capitalist exploitation, uh, forms of neocolonialism, uh, imperialism, and then you also have the corporate media complicity, right? And
Mm.
so they're able to do these things under the guise of setting up liberal democracy when what they're really doing, obviously, is stealing. As Margaret Kimberly said earlier
Mm-hmm.
today, they're stealing. And so it made me think of this quote from Fanon that where he said the black man has no ontological resistance in the eyes of the white man, right? And so that same colonial logic is how America views all of the black and brown nations within the global South. They're there to be ravished, pillaged, exploited, taken advantage of. And so the question, should black people be concerned with U.S. strikes on Venezuela? I think we should always be concerned when America does these types of things. First off, there are black people in Venezuela, for people that did not know that, right? There, and secondly,
Yeah.
the same hegemonic force that uh, kidnapped world leaders and on trumped up charges is the same hegemonic force that kidnaps our revolutionaries,
Come on,
kills them,
teach, teach.
and so we should always be concerned. I seen probably a little bit more to my liking, but I've seen a lot of brothers and sisters seem to be siding with empire and speaking French and we, and I just don't understand it. You have to understand that everything that they're doing is designed to benefit and enrich the ruling class, right? And so uh, one thing that I think we should always be mindful of is make sure you're actually, doing the knowledge and tuning into media like this, where you can actually get the real. Because if you watch corporate media, you would think that this was about fentanyl, this was about cocaine, or
That's
this was
right.
about some type of, narco conspiracy. When in actuality, it's the same old American imperialism that we've always seen.
Mm-hmm.
Hugo Chavez before kicked some, they did canceled a deal where they kicked out a lot of, American oil companies, right? And so it's very interesting, right? How they often tell on themselves. For months, we heard about this. For months, we heard in news, in media, about how we gotta, they have all of this fentanyl there, and we have to, I guess, get Maduro out of office, and because of all of the drugs that are being exported from Venezuela. Now that we've come to find that that is not true, that there isn't much fentanyl being exported from Venezuela, Trump, a couple of weeks ago, before this kidnapping, he was on, being interviewed, and he stated, they have our oil. Now imagine the pathology that it must take to see the natural resources in another nation and call it mine and call it ours, right?
Mm.
This is exactly what they do. So those are some of the initial thoughts just after having some time to think about it. Those were some of the things that stood out to me.
And thank you, so much. That I love that breakdown. I love both of your perspectives. When I first heard about it, Trump goes into Venezuela, and then they have drugs, and so the accusation was you're striking them, you're striking the boats, you're striking the land because of these allegations that they were bringing drugs, to America. The first thing that came to my brain was Saddam Hussein, right? When they got weapons of mass destruction. So we're going in there. They got weapons of mass destruction. So that was the allegation. And that was the justification for the US to go in, right? And so he said, oh, they were bringing drugs, to America. They've been bringing drugs. This has been going on, right? They always bring drugs. We know drugs come from, South America. We know how to, they've been doing that for decades, right? And so, when he said that, I said, oh, here we go. And then he said during his press conference, he said, well, we're taking over Venezuela now. And because we want a regime change. I said, oh. And I don't know Maduro. I don't know much. I don't know a lot about Maduro, the president, of Venezuela. So this is not like Dr. Mott is defending the president. No. I don't know too much about him. His rumors out there that he's a dictator. You got some people some Venezuelans who are in Florida. They were celebrating, him getting captured. Then you got some people protesting. So I don't know what's going on in Venezuela. I'm not Venezuelan. But what I do know is that I've seen this before. I saw this before. Trump is not, like you said, Rakeem. Trump, this is nothing new. This is not a new playbook that they're going by. This is something that the Bush did. George Bush did it. George Bush Jr. did it. Weapons of mass destruction. They got weapons of mass destruction. Barack Obama. They're all reading out of the same. They're all going by the same playbook. They're all reading the same playbook and going by the same playbook. So I said, oh, they want a regime change. So they want control over Venezuela. And I started thinking again about Saddam Hussein, weapons of mass destruction. They went in, but remember, Saddam was once a friend of the United States. He was a friend. And they actually, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they helped him get in power. But then he started smelling himself. I'm going up on my old prices. So they said, we got to get him out of there. We need a regime change. He's a dictator. It's the language is the same. He's a dictator. We need a regime change. It's weapons of mass destruction. So I'm listening to Trump talk. Oh, they're bringing drugs in. He's a dictator. We need a regime change. It's the same thing, the same language over and over and over again. And I think that you explained it beautifully, Rakeem, when you said it. What we're looking at really is white terrorism, and we're looking at European imperialism. That's what it is. And you said, and oh my goodness, I should have dropped the ball when you said it. And you said these are the same forces that took out our leaders. They got rid of our leaders. And so we should be concerned. But let me ask you, brothers, this. There are some people, and shout out to my sister, Zakia. Zakia put up a video on Facebook. It's like a 13-minute video. And she talked about how she feels like Black people are more concerned with what's happening in Venezuela than what's happening domestically with Black people. And what just happened in Nigeria. She was saying, well, wait a minute. Nigeria just got bombed. She said on Christmas Day. And she said, where was the same energy? She said when they attacked Venezuela, people hit the streets. In fact, in Baltimore, Dr. Assar, yesterday at City Hall, there was a protest, hands off Venezuela, right here in Baltimore at 2 p.m. down at City Hall. I know because I saw the invitation. They said somebody inboxed me. They said, Dr. Mott, you coming? And I ain't respond. But it was happening in Baltimore. And so her argument was this. She was saying, well, wait a minute. Daggone, they get struck, and within hours, people are activated, right? People are mobilizing, people are organizing, people are mobilizing. She was like, within hours. She was saying, well, why didn't that we get that same response when he struck Nigeria on Christmas? And why don't we get that same response when things happen with Black people domestically, i.e., when the National Guard got sent into DC, and I think they went to Chicago. I want to say they went into Chicago, but they went into these different urban cities or urban centers. And she was saying you didn't get the same response. So could you brothers help me unpack that?
Yes. First, I would like to say, I know that it was also in the chat as well, and you kind of brought it up about a lot of media outlets are showing people of Venezuela celebrating. I just need people to understand too that a lot of what you see when you see that is the same type of thing when periodically you see the news talk about Cubans are protesting their government, and then they'll pan to a bunch of white Cubans in wealthy neighborhoods in Miami, right? These are the ruling class that no longer get to benefit uh, from the exploitation of resources and labor in that nation. So yes, they will be definitely happy that the United States did this because they want to be able to get a bigger piece of that pie as well. Um, Now, when it comes to Nigeria, what happened domestically with the National Guard, that's a good question. I don't feel like there. I feel like it just depends on what circles you're in, right? I do know that a lot of times, you know, Europeans don't often react the same when these atrocities happen in Africa or in our neighborhoods. But I think when it comes to Black people, especially those that have a revolutionary consciousness, we were as adamant about the bombing in Nigeria and the and we were adamantly opposed to the bombing in Nigeria and the National Guard being sent to places like DC, Chicago, and other things. I think I think though, a lot of times it's media coverage, the way that media responds to things. The media obviously uh, did not make a huge deal about the bombing of Nigeria.
Not at all.
One thing that I will say about that, though, I think there was a lot of talk about Nigeria in our community as well, because I think a couple of days before, Nicki Minaj was at Turning Point USA, acting as a form of soft American soft power to kind of justify what was about to happen, which was United States, bombing Nigeria, under the guise of saving Christians from being persecuted. Again, this is all propaganda. This is all things that they use to sway public opinion. Americans are probably the most propagandized people in the world, and they begin to believe these things. I don't want to go off to a tangent on your question.
Go ahead. No, go. I'm listening. Please.
Okay, yeah, but they begin to believe these things, and again, that's why independent media is important, and being able to study and see things for what they are is truly important. When we look at Nigeria, when we look at what happens domestically in our own neighborhoods, this is why we're always told, hey, like if you're really trying to be serious, join an organization, right? Or our organizations are addressing these issues. It's not like that this isn't happening. It's just, I think that the media does not cover that the same way that they'll cover this. Honestly, too, though, this was an example of a leader being kidnapped by another nation, right? There's no way that can't be the top story for the next couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think we should get into the idea of one versus the other. the same forces that kidnapped Maduro are the same forces that bombed Nigeria and are the same forces that sent the National Guard to Washington, D.C., Chicago, and Memphis, right? We need to keep our analysis international and domestic and understand that this all is part of the bigger picture and what the United States empire does. I understand trust me, I get it. I understand why those may feel like, hey, Africa may not be, Africa may not get the same response. And I have the same criticisms as well, especially like with the genocides in Sudan, the genocides in Congo. I have the same criticisms as well because I am also, obviously pro-Palestinian, but I know that the media doesn't necessarily cover Sudan, Congo the same way it may cover the genocide in Palestine. I'm very aware of that. I think that's even, and I'm not an Afro pessimist, but I think that's one of the things that Wilderson talks about in his book, is the fact that even like when it comes to African people, we are so othered that we are the baseline of what it means and left out of humanity, right? And so when it comes to our suffering, it's like I would use the analogy of the same way we don't care whenever we step on a bug. In a lot of ways, that's how they treat Black suffering in this world, right? And so we see that a lot of times with the response to what happens in our communities and abroad. But at the same time, that does not mean that we, stay there in thought. We have to continue to keep our analysis on point, keep it sharp, keep it, revolutionary.
Absolutely. Dr. Assad, let me ask you this, because Rakeem made a beautiful point when he talked about, how we must operate with an international consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
He talked about that because many of us don't. A lot of us, it's kind of like is what's happening in my town, in my area, or what's happening nationally. But, they say, I don't got time to worry about what's happening internationally. And I know Rakeem keeps driving on the point where you better worry about it because the same forces that are oppressing you locally and nationally is the same forces that are oppressing people internationally. It's the same. It's all the same. But could you brothers, and starting with you, Dr. Assad, could you speak to the importance of operating with a global consciousness, with an international consciousness? See, people like Malcolm X. Remember Malcolm X when he began to travel, he started, operating with an international consciousness. His consciousness grew, you know what I mean? And so it went from just, what's happening with Black Americans, and what's happening here and in Harlem and in Black America. He kind of grew to have an international, or global consciousness, because you talk about the importance of our people developing that.
Oh man, Doc, that's an awesome question. You do this so beautifully. I like how you just did that. Now, my brain ain't at 100%, but I'm going to try to do my best.
And I hope you feel better. And I do appreciate you coming on despite that you're not feeling too well.
I'm not going to make excuses for my brain, right? Hey, no, but I kind of want to back up and come forward. I think that, again, looking at it from a psychosocial, political perspective, I think we have to be able to see nuance. And I'm coming. I think we have to be able to see, and this is what Brother Rakeem is actually saying in his very eloquent way.
Absolutely. And
the problem is we struggle with being able to see nuance for many reasons. Even to compare Nigeria to the Venezuela situation in that way shows an inability to see nuance. Right. And it also shows an inability to see nuances because this is when you find yourself in this victim mentality. And this is essential to even know what happened in Nigeria. First of all, you have to ask the question, what took place and why is it less? In some senses, it is less of a response, but in some instances, you can ask the question, why is it less of a response? I think Brother Rakeem expressed some of that, even through media and so forth and so on. But even what have we heard about what happened in Nigeria? What actually happened? How many people killed? Did they take a president? Who were they fighting? Were they fighting Christians? Like, what was going on? And was this something that Nigeria agreed with, the government? You know, so it's like all these things are being left off the table. Now, whether if Nigeria wants to take on false generosity from this United States government, that will quell some of the reaction to it, because people have been told that the Nigerian government wanted to they aligned themselves with the United States to do this. In this case, this is a government takeover. This is very different. I'm not saying that the United States means Nigeria any good. I don't think so at all. I think it's part of the more of the woke imperium. It's an imperial conquest. It's still more the same. But when I say woke imperium, they come with their false generosity. They come in with aid and this and that and so forth to conquer you. There's various different ways to conquer you. That is just a more subtle and more complex way of tactic of conquering you, Nigeria. Here they say, look, give me your shit. Excuse my language. This is a hijack. What Biggie say? You know, just give it to me. Look, get up and tie him up and put him in the trunk. This is a very different type of thing, and I get it. I also understand some of the reason why it's difficult to kind of piece out some of the things that's going on in the continent, because even those of us who think as intellectual as I think I am, it's very messy. This right here is not that messy. I'm talking about the Sudan and everything else. I mean, when I'm looking at this stuff, I'm confused. And when I listen to the scholars, they said they're confused. They're like, look, this is very, very complex things going on, and it looks like people are fighting the government. I mean, black people are fighting black people. It's very complex. Because lots of times what's going on in Africa, it looks like us fighting us. And then you have to ask, like, so, and then people get turned like, that's us fighting us. But where did it come from? What powers and people have influenced this? But it is very complex. What is going on in Sudan is not that complex. I'm sorry. What's going on in the Sudan is complex.
Oh, it's okay.
What's going on in Palestine, it seems complex, but it's not that complex. You know, all you got to do is a quick history. What's going on in Venezuela is not that complex. I'm not saying that it doesn't deserve some intellectual power. I'm saying it is not as complex, messy, and covert. But what is going on in Africa, it is. So anyway, I'm just saying that we should highlight these things, but we have to also understand the war games is being played. So again, that goes to your point. That comes to your point that we have to be able to educate ourselves globally, geopolitically, so that we can understand these things. That's why I appreciate people like brother Rakeem. Well, hold on, I'm pardon my name, y'all. Am I saying?
I do it all the time. He was like, he said, Dr. Ma'at is Rakeem. I was like, Raheem. I called Raheem. And he says Rakeem, sister. It's Rakeem. I said, my bad.
Like brother Rakeem Shabazz, right?
Yes, indeed.
I'm hoping I said the right. Look,
you did.
Okay, got you right. So, so my brother Rakeem, you know, I told him look, check the episode out next week, y'all. I'm giving a plug. I'm be on it.
I was about to get the same plug. So
you give a better plug than me, but nonetheless, I told him on that episode that's why I appreciate the minds of people like him, because we all can't do the same thing. We need those political, I don't know what you want to call it, that faction of African, Pan-African thought to exist. Because from my standpoint, and I think me and you had this talk, Doc, people who operate from that lens and that angle, like the when I'm a little under the weather, I just say Stokely Carmichael, because I start saying Kwame Ture, and I'll be saying Nkrumah or something like that. But Kwame Ture and Stokely Carmichael, those people who really think politically in that sense, those people like Dr. Marimba Ani who really think of politically, though, and people miss it with Dr. Clark who think very politically. We have to really know. So anyway, what I'm saying is, if you don't think politically, you know what? Let me just stop it there, because my brain is getting a little twisted, but this is what I'll say. Dr. John Henry Clark says Pan-Africanism or perish.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that sums it up. We have to, and Pan-Africanism is an ideology that gives us a worldview or vision or a framework to see us everywhere in the world, including Venezuela. And I must say that they call themselves Afro-Venezuelans or whatever, pardon my language right now.
They do. Yeah, they do. They do.
I'm trying to get the Venezuela word out. But nonetheless, I just want to be clear that they do, because there's a lot of argument to say that they don't. And the brother Obi, hopefully we can get him on sometime. He's been doing work with them before this has happened. You know what I'm saying? Like talking to the brothers and sisters who's organizing and saying that there's a lot of work going on in Venezuela. And I missed the 2 calls that he had recently. But they're saying there's a lot of work going in Venezuela on a Pan-African front that they're also trying to usurp in some ways.
Wow. No, and I absolutely hold up. Before you say that, I want to put a pin in this. At Tayi 23234, brother or sister, I don't know who's behind the handle. Do you have anything intelligent to add to the conversation? Or are you just trolling? Because that's what it seems like you're doing. It seems like you're trolling and you have nothing intellectual to say. But I can drop the link in the chat because, you know, Dr. Mott likes to fight. I love to fight. I don't mind to fight. I like to fight. I'll drop the link in the chat if you want to hop up. If you want to hop up, if you want to hop on the panel, you ain't got to troll in the chat. You can actually click the link and come on in, and we can work it that way. I also want to say this. I am not the expert. You said I see a lot of outlets showing the people of Venezuela are happy and approve of his removal. Thoughts on the panel? I actually talked about that earlier. I don't know when you joined. I am not an expert, but I talked about earlier how you see 2 things happening. Some people are rejoicing. Like if you just quickly go to YouTube and type in Venezuelans, Floridians, they're rejoicing. Like, so the media is showing them. So you have some people who are rejoicing, and then some people who are they're protesting, right? And so you see a lot of that going on both sides. And so we kind of touched on that a little earlier. But I did want to say this, Dr. Asar, and I said put a pin in it. Oh my goodness, what did you say? I'm at that age where if you don't get it out right then and there, Rakeem, you got to get it out. You don't get it out right then and there. What did he close with? Because it sparked like
Pan-African parish.
Yeah.
Yes, and you talked about a lot of work being done in Venezuela. I don't think a lot of our people, and see, this is what happens when you don't read, when you don't study our history. I don't think they understand how many enslaved Africans that were transported directly to South America. Mm-hmm. Brazil actually has one of the highest or one of the largest populations of African descended people right there in Brazil. They have the highest, one of the largest populations of African descended people right there in Brazil. They have a large number of people in Venezuela. I don't think people even know that right there in Cartagena, which is at the tip. You all know what I'm talking about. Cartagena is right there in Colombia, right at the tip of South America. That used to be a transshipment area during the transatlantic kidnapping trade, right? And so from Cartagena, they would transport enslaved Africans to Cartagena, and from Cartagena, they would send them to different places in South America. That's a fact. And so remember, we had different transshipment areas. You had transshipment areas in the Caribbean. Barbados was one. Jamaica was one. St. Martinique was one. St. Dominic was one. You also had some in South America. Cartagena was one. Then if you go closer to Africa, you had Cape Verde was one. You had Sao Tome. So they had different transshipment areas. So why is Dr. Maya saying this? If you understood the transatlantic kidnapping trade, or kidnapping network, I don't even want to call it a trade, kidnapping network, then you'll know, oh man, they shipped a lot of our people to Cartagena. From Cartagena, they shipped people to your Brazil and Venezuela and Peru and other places in South America. So South America has a large population of African descended people. That's the first point I wanted to make. The second point I wanted to make is that Dr. Asar is 1,000% right. It's a lot of Pan-African work being done, not only in Venezuela, but even in Brazil. I have brothers and sisters reach out to me on Instagram in Brazil. They're translating my videos right in Brazil. They're translating my daggone videos. They're putting me on Instagram, and they got me. It's like another voice speaking, I guess, their language. But they are really doing some work, in Pan-African work in Brazil. So don't get it twisted. But see, when you just listen to YouTubers, and I ain't gonna say no names, but when you just listen to YouTubers, oh, ain't nothing going on, Pan-Africanism is dead, then you don't really understand what's happening, right? Like what's happening in South America, and you're not aware of the work that's being done when you're listening to the same people, on YouTube. But look, I see a Queen Mother Marcia Pender's in the building. She joined. I think she want to chime in. Queen, what are your thoughts? I see you want to chime in. Peace and love to you, Sister Marcia. What are your thoughts? You got to unmute, Queen.
Okay, yeah. I was talking too much to the screen. It's like,
Like,
I
let me
can't
click the
type
link.
all this. I can't type all this. But I'm literally teaching this currently, just trying to update it to my kids. And I teach history a lot to some high schoolers. And so this is like way deeper. I mean, this goes back to like the late and early 90s, probably further back than that too. But just for a basis point, you know, the bigger deal for me right now that we should all be concerned about this is, of course, because this ties right into Nigeria, Burkina Faso, all the things. But the main thing I think people are really missing about this is really the why. America is panicking. And when you have a panicked white person or white people, we should all be concerned. And the reason why they're panicked, in my opinion, in the assessment of like history, is because the BRIC nations formulated, they've added Ethiopia now at this point, Egypt has joined, I believe some other, like United Arab Emirates have joined, and they're trying to sort of bring down like Western dominance, right? Now, how do we do that? Most people don't know that you can only buy oil using the American dollar. Don't matter where you buy oil from, you have to buy it with the American dollar. So everybody else has to take their dollar and like trade it in for like American dollars, which means they have to buy our dollar to then go and buy oil. So if we're doing that, that helps prop up our dollar and makes it relevant, makes it solid, right? So because our dollar is not backed by the normal things like gold and silver, like a lot of other countries do. So if oil is the basis for why our dollar stays dominant and can stay solid, if the BRICS nation do what they're trying to do and buy oil and gas with other currency, then people don't need to buy our dollar. Don't have to use our dollar in order to buy oil. And so that would make our currency do what? Fall. We can't afford to do that. And I think our government doesn't know exactly what to do about that. And so now they're panicking and they're trying to destabilize these nations and trying to keep people from joining BRICS and trying to get the oil. So like they said, they're taking over Venezuela for the oil. So yes, it's about oil, but it ain't. It's about oil, but it's about our currency. And so just wanted to say all that just because it's just like we've got to kind of get to the bone of the thing, not just the skin, not just the muscle, but like the bone of it, the marrow of it really, I think, is about America panicking over what are they going to do if the US dollar falls. And then here goes our economy, there goes the, Wall Street, all the things. This is a huge deal, and we would be willing to do anything to keep the dollar and keep our nation like at the top. So I just wanted to say that because I felt like that was just a really key piece that a lot of people aren't talking about is the currency.
It's the currency. The fact that you said that our money is backed by oil.
Oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's backed by oil.
And you said, and the folks, with all these alliances happening, you said white folks are panicking right now.
Oh, yeah. And we should all be concerned when white folks start panicking. There's a desperate white people. They will eat their own when they're desperate. So they definitely don't care nothing about brown folk. in the midst of all that. Because I mean, if people don't care that our government just kidnapped the whole person and their whole life, like even if we agree that it's a dictatorship, you can't just be like not killing, but stealing people's dignitaries. Like, you can't do that. That's literally an act of war.
Yeah. I was thinking when they did that, Sister Marcia, I was thinking about, remember with Saddam Hussein, and I remember when that stuff happened, and I was in my 20s. I was like in my early 20s during that time
Yeah.
period. And I just remember, I said, damn, how you go bomb somebody, sugar honey iced tea, right? And then grab their president, indict them in your courts, then send them back to their country to get hung. I said, now that's some gangster sugar honey iced tea.
Right. And
Right.
then
That's
wondering, is it really terrorism when you have brought this kind of trauma to a whole country? Like, you can't go. I mean, we could feel however we want to feel about countries and their presidents or whatever.
That's
But
right.
when you go into somewhere and you bomb a people, Sudan, all the things that are going on right now, Palestine, all that, you are setting up your own terrorism. You're setting it up that way because you leave their children behind. What is a child going to do if you kill their father? They're going to come kill you. Like,
Right.
that's just how it goes.
That's how it goes.
And so, whatever we're doing in Venezuela, kind of upsetting it right now, we should all be concerned because Trump and no other administration has any intention of stabilizing. We never go in and stabilize anything. So when we leave, once we get what we want, we will have upset another nation again in their economy and how their government works, and just leaving the most vulnerable at risk, which in Venezuela is a lot of Black people. It's just what it is.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much, though, Queen. I appreciate you hopping on. Thank you so much. That queen powerful. That queen is powerful. Homeschooling mom. Hopefully her son comes to Morgan, homeschooling. So when she clicked the link, I had to let her in to let her speak her speech. Let me ask you this. Somebody asked in the chat, and we'll close up. It's two things I want to address. This is one of them. Someone in the chat asked if someone on the panel could break down the history of Venezuela prior to this. And I can't do it. I don't study Venezuelan history. The only thing that I can tell you is about, the transshipment and what happened. Cartagena, is a huge population. But I don't know too much about what was happening in Venezuela prior to this incident. Does anybody on the panel know? Brother Rakeem, are you familiar with the history of Venezuela somewhat?
I'm not an expert on the history of Venezuela, but I would tell you, if you want to know more and understand for context, just study the Bolivarian Revolution and everything leading up from then to now. And I think it'll better help you to understand what's happening now.
What was that revolution about? I never heard of it.
Yeah,
I heard it mentioned on BBC because they were talking about the vice president of Venezuela. It's they said she's like a Maduro loyalist, and they said that he was in support of that revolution, and so was she. And I think that now she's like in power, or she's like interim president right now, and until they figure out this whole regime change. But they mentioned that, and I was like, dang, I need to Google it, but it was time to go live, so I didn't have a chance to do it. But what was that revolution about, brother?
I mean, it was about pretty much the nationalization of their own resources, right? That's when that's when, so it was named after an older, I believe, Venezuelan revolutionary. I'm not for sure. I believe Simone Bolivar, but regardless, it was about keeping the West out of Venezuela, exploiting their resources, right? I mean, in a nutshell. Again, I'm not an expert on the history of Venezuela or the Bolivarian Revolution, but I can tell you, anytime you have a regime that begins to remove the capitalist exploitation from its nation, right, and begins to implement a socialist regime, and where the means of production is no longer owned by the ruling class, you're going to have the West and America specifically have a problem with that, because that means that they can no longer exploit the nation for its natural resources, right? And then so you'll get these media narratives that, because I've heard Maduro called the dictator, a lot in these past few days, and that's because they have to make you think that anyone who is not allowing America to run roughshod and again, as Margaret Kimberly said earlier, steal, right? Anytime a nation does that, then America is going to say they need a regime change. And again, this is as we mentioned before, this is the same playbook, right? This is not the first time we've seen anything like this. I think one thing that people need to be aware of, they often tell on themselves. Rubio also mentioned Cuba, right, and said if he stated, I believe, in that press conference that the Cuban government should be on the lookout for what's coming, right? And so, as you know, for revolutionaries, Cuba, Haiti, places like that has always, outside of what they are materially,
Right.
what they have always represented symbolically what revolution looks like, right? And so it's kind of like that idea of what I believe it was, that political idea that the threat of a good example, right? In Haiti's, in the instance of Haiti, we can't let the first Black republic that killed its enslavers prosper. Also, we cannot allow any socialist nations to prosper, because then the people begin to start asking questions. Well, if this socialist nation is prospering, or if Haiti is prospering, then they begin to look at their own government, and they begin to look at the poverty in their own nation and the quote unquote third world conditions in their own nation. They begin to ask questions. Why? Why does the ruling class have so much? Why does the poor have so little? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And again, whenever you were looking at a lot of those Venezuelans that were celebrating in Miami, those were, in a lot of cases, rich white Venezuelans that belong to the ruling class. We have to not only look at these things from race, but also it's class, right? Like
That's right.
That's what that's what's missing from a lot of the analysis that we see, obviously, in corporate media, because the corporate media is pro-capitalist media. But even at the same time, I don't want your viewers to take that lightly. Like, just because you see certain people celebrating, you got to ask yourself who those people are. The same way you see white Cubans often protesting, and the media runs with it, right? They love to see that happen, right? But then they'll frame it as if this is representative of all Cubans, right? But it's really the white ruling class that got ran off there, whose grandparents got ran off when Bautista got ran off. And so this is the same thing that we're seeing now. Again, if anybody who wants to, learn more about Venezuela specifically, the information is out there. I'm not an expert on Venezuela, but I do know a little bit about how capitalism, Western imperialism, and colonialism works. And so, again, this is nothing that we haven't seen before. I think what kind of surprises people now is how in your face it is.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I think that is what has kind of taken people aback, but the act itself is definitely nothing new.
No, absolutely. And KP, Doc, did you want to say something? Because KP wanted to add on to the build about the revolution. But go ahead, Doc.
Just to that point, it was a few things, but I think to kind of bring the question that you asked about earlier about being politically educated or understanding global
operated with the international consciousness
on the internet,
global
I think
consciousness.
it's also essential, as our dear brother Rakeem is demonstrating, that sometimes when people are asking questions, is letting you know that we need to study frameworks more, ideologies more, because you don't really even have to know all the details about a thing or a place. You know how imperialists operate. You understand their tactics, their wars, there's even from some people call us a colonized people here in the United States. So you understand there's things like false generosity. You understand there's like interest convergence. You understand that these things are done. They're the same tricks. You don't even have to know all these things. You just already sense it. Not even sense it. You have a framework to operate from. When you have a theoretical framework, and that's why theory is important. People speak about it's just theory. No, you have to have something to organize your thoughts. Even those people, like you do have the white Cubans and those are the aristocracy, but you also have the poor people who think that somehow that America is going to save them and they're going to do it for the best interest of them. Just like you have people in Africa who think that, I think we have to really look at it like we have to be able to parse things out. No one's saying anything about this president or whether or not he was a dictator or whether he harmed his people, but we have to be more intelligent. Who is America? Who is the United States of America to go in and act like they're anything better?
Right. That
what they're going to bring about is going to be anything better. So even the word dictator is it's a trigger word. It's utilized to imprint in your mind a certain type of image about a person, a community, a group, a leader. They will call everybody a dictator. In fact, okay, like what you call a dictator, what they're calling dictators, lots of times, I'm saying lots of times, especially on the African continent and other places, is much of what is often needed to get under the foot, the feet or the foot of Western imperialism.
Yep.
They will call anything a dictatorship. And I'm not saying this isn't. I'm just saying you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
With the words they use to imprint in your mind certain positions of others.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I couldn't agree more with you, Doc. That was powerful. Pro old man 67. You said Spain and Portugal were the world powers at the time. That's why most of the ships went to the Caribbean and South America. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Okay. That is not true. I just wanted to keep that up there just to let you know, family. That's not true. KP, did you want to add anything on the revolution and what was happening in Venezuela prior to this incident? Peace to you, KP. You have the floor.
Yes, and again, thank you for allowing me up on the panel. Peace to Dr. Asar. Peace to the guest speaker, who's excellently broke down the reasons why Black people ought to be concerned with what is happening in Venezuela. And props to you, as always, Dr. Mahat.
Peace.
For hosting an excellent panel and driving it the way you've done so. I got 2 points.
Thank you so much, King. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Number one, should Black Americans be concerned with what happened in Venezuela? Yes, because the Venezuela situation is all about oil, right? And we are part of that history of capitalist blood money doing whatever, breaking any kind of law, international, national, local, whatever, for securing an oil-backed dollar or oil rights in general. Our very own story, Resurrecting Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood, Oklahoma. Part of the initial wealth that was generated by the citizens of Greenwood, which became Tulsa later, was the oil found in Oklahoma. So when we lost temporarily, I know it was rebuilt, but the Greenwood neighborhood in Tulsa, it was a direct attack that had been motivated by the 2 decades prior, based on the wealth held by Blacks that was backed by the oil, the land and its oil sources. So we are part of this story about white capitalist excess in pursuit of mineral wealth and oil. That's a part of our Black story in the United States. But yes, I did want to just quickly comment, and sorry for taking up so much time.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good.
Thank you. About the Bolivarian Revolution. And it's a complicated one. And all of you have made excellent points. So the little I can add just is to clarify that the Bolivarian Revolution, led by Simon Bolivar, was one where the enslaved populations of northern South America, the area we call Venezuela and Colombia, were decisive. In other words, Simón Bolivar and the Bolivarian Revolution would not have been successful if the slaves didn't come to his side. Now, there's a little bit of complication there because Bolivar himself came from a very wealthy family that owned hundreds of slaves, literally, right? But part of the genius of his leadership is in bringing the slaves as a class of people onto the side, which tipped the scales, which allowed the Bolivarian Revolution to be successful. But blacks, that's not the end of the Bolivarian Revolution's entanglement with Africanness or blackness relative to South America. What Bolivar is trying to do is create a competitive, almost alternative American federation. He wants this idea of America to be emerge from a revolutionary South American point of emphasis. He is heavily inspired by the Haitian Revolution, and in fact, goes after actual support from Alexander Pétion, who at one point was one of the rulers of the revolutionary Haiti, 1815 to 1820. He's actively getting support from the Haitian revolutionary state to support the revolution in South America. But again, it's complex and it's nuanced in that despite the fact that Africans and blacks are decisive in gaining the independence and freedom of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, all these areas which have been consolidated again in this federation idea called Gran Colombia, he brings in the Spanish racial code. And the Spanish racial code, where you have a hierarchy of rights in society, partially based on race, he does nothing to abolish that. So he basically exploits and uses the African manpower fighting martial ability to win, but then denies full equality and freedom to the African people. So there's a contradiction there with Bolivar and his revolution. This is not my area of expertise by any means. I tend to study the Caribbean more narrowly, but Simón Bolivar, as an American revolutionary, was certainly engaged in the revolutionary phase of 19th century struggles against slavery and for a wider general freedom. So, it's complicated.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it, brother KP. And I appreciate you for weighing in, warrior.
Yeah,
I appreciate you weighing in, brother. Peace and love.
Thank you. I hope that little was valuable. But hey,
it was very valuable.
I was going to just say, anybody, I will share an article in the back chat, but there's information on this, but it tends not to be emphasized in American education. But again, just to finalize, the key point: Bolivar wants to establish this idea of America based on liberty, egalitarianism, and freedom, but from a South American nexus. That's the main ideological push that he's going for. But his own elite, white, parochial sense is going to prevent him and other elites from achieving that goal in the end.
Appreciate you, brother KP. Peace and love to you, warrior. Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Maya, you mind if I address something as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, I see Lisa Nicole Jackson. She's in the chat. Like, what is that? Yeah, she in there wilding out. And then she said, President Trump is teaching. I knew you were a Trump supporter, sis. Based on what you said, I knew you probably supported what Nicki Minaj was saying that old the MAGA fest. Lisa Nicole, I sent the link in the chat, Queen. Come on up here so we could have a conversation. No, you ain't gotta is she in my chat or is she in your chat, brother Rakeem or Dr.
Yes, I think it's your chat.
She's in my chat. Oh, yeah. Queen, you got it. Hold on. Let me click the link for this, sister. Let me click it, copy it. She said, what is Pan-Africanism? Even Pan-African or Parish? What is Pan-Africanism? What does that even mean? It sounds parasitic. Sister, come on in. Let's have a talk. Come on in. Don't be scared. We'll definitely be respectful. Peace and love. Peace and love. What did you want to address, brother?
Yeah,
Hakeem,
just
before I let
one
Baba
thing
Amin
too.
up?
I don't want people. The idea that America is weak and weakening. I don't want people to take that as if America's military might is still not the strongest in the world. As you can see, they went and kidnapped Maduro, and nobody did anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody did anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a threat to do anything, right? So that means when it comes to our organizing and our fight, we can't get off the gas and think that, okay, we have this beast hobbled. Obviously, um, America's America's power is in its military, right? And so I just didn't want people to run with the idea that America is now weakened to the point where, um, because obviously, we see what's happening with BRICS, we see what's happening in China and things of that nature. But again, I think it would be foolish to look at America any differently than how we've always looked at it, especially when it comes to its military.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
And I had something, and it's going to sound like it's conflicting with that, but it's not, because I agree with what my dear brother said, because I just have it written here. Just to kind of answer the question a bit, should Black people be concerned with the U.S. strikes on Venezuela? And I'm going to add any other strike or any other type of attack that the U.S. carries out, or any position that the U.S. Takes. I say we should be concerned.
Absolutely.
Even if only to the extent that it forces us to wake up from the illusion that America is untouchable. I mean, the fact that we even believe, like the only reason why we won't be concerned is because we believe that no one can come here and drop anything on us. Like we're often confused when things like 9/11 happens, or like we act like there's no consequences to the things that America does, because we're here. The only we live in this deluded sense of reality in America, that America is off ground. And I'm not saying that America can't protect itself, because it can, but the reality is the sickness, though, that we can only not be concerned and detached because we are in these American quote unquote safe places. Like nobody else in real life thinks like that. You feel so protected. I'm talking about as a Black person. You feel so protected as a peasant here in America that you can't worry about Black people anywhere else. If people start, I'm just saying, we have to be concerned.
Indeed. Oh, peace, Baba Amin, my brother.
Peace, Black man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey, Dr. Mayat, unfortunately, I had something.
Yeah, I already know. Yeah. I was just getting ready to say, look, I was
Okay.
just Rakeem. I was just, because I only like to hold you brothers for about an hour. So I was getting ready to say, if you got to run, I understand. Look, Dr. Asar over there coughing, drinking his water. He was trying to hang.
Yeah.
So Dr. Asar, I appreciate you coming on and building. Brother Rakeem, I love when you come on. I love when you and Dr. Asar come on and build with me. So I'm gonna look, you brothers can go. I'm good. I'm getting ready to close out probably the next 15, 20 minutes, but I know you have obligations, Brother Rakeem, and so do you, Dr. Asar. So I do appreciate you, brothers,
We
for
appreciate
coming
you.
on. But if you want to hang, Dr. Asar, you can hang. I'm not kicking
I'll
you
hang,
off.
I'll
Yeah.
hang for a little while. 15 minutes is good for me. But Brother
Yeah,
Rakeem, is always a pleasure.
Always
Salute.
a pleasure, man.
Salute,
Shout out to
warrior.
you, Dr. Mayat. Shout out to
Salute,
Baba
warrior.
Amin. Shout out to Dr. Asar. I just want to say, man, Baba Amin is partly responsible for who I am today, man. He was
Ashe.
one of the people
Ashe.
that I came up under. He was one of the people that I learned so much from. And so
Ashe.
appreciate you. I wish I could stay, but I got to head out, man.
All right, man. Peace and love. I heard the baby in the background. I didn't want to be I heard the baby. You got a young baby. I didn't know you had a young one.
That's I'm not me.
Oh, okay. All right, my bad. I heard somebody in the back. I said, I ain't know the warrior. All right, you take care, warrior.
All right, peace.
Baba, I was talking about the camp.
Yes.
At the beginning, man, I was talking about showing pictures and stuff of what we did, and And I showed them how, man, you was working with the babies, every day, giving them the African wisdom, the African proverbs,
a great time.
and going over, the Black history and STEM. And I talked about that and showed them some code that the students worked on. So I told them, man, I said, look, you gotta get your child in here for the summer cycle. Get your child in the summer cycle.
Hey, enough of them speak up, we'll have a spring cycle.
Exactly. There we go.
Demand. So
that's
demand
right.
and supply. You know what I'm saying? So hey, y'all, powerful dialogue. I came in late. I'm knee deep in grading and getting ready for tomorrow. School comes back in. But I said, man, I'm gonna stop doing my homework for a second and get in on this a little bit, just a little bit, just
a little bit.
Yeah, if I could just make one quick.
Please do. You ain't gotta be quick. You ain't gotta be quick. The Bible. Go ahead, Bill.
One of the reasons why Black people should be concerned, and I saw Mama Marcia on here earlier too, right?
That's my girl.
The little piece of green paper that we chase after. It's about currency. And it's about the United States making sure that Venezuela, who over the past few years have been using various currency and getting partners like Russia and China to agree to accept their crypto and to accept their currency in exchange for oil. And that's a big deal. And you got to be concerned about that, because if the dollar loses value, when y'all put that money up their arm like that, it ain't gonna mean nothing no more.
Come on.
Right. Yeah, and now I know what all the billionaires been telling Trump: get out there and save the dollar. Because they don't have a liquid $1 billion. They don't have $1 billion in gold. Zuckerberg don't got $200 billion in something tangible, right? So if the dollar loses value, so does his empire. It loses value. A billionaire won't be a billionaire anymore. And what you got to be concerned about is if they get back on this, they may not attack America. This may be the momentum that BRICS needs to finally attack the dollar. Because America has over-sanctioned everybody. The only reason why BRICS has momentum is because Iran and other countries want to get out from under U.S. sanctions. So the only way they can sanction another country is through the dollar. Like, you can't buy any oil, we put sanctions on you. Well, okay, how do we get out from around that? We all come together and say, hey, we're going to accept a different currency. You're not going to worry about the U.S. dollar. And so that's what that particular battle is all about. The second reason why you should be concerned is how America treats smaller countries like that. The American imperialism is really, if you study those politics and economics, you'll understand how the hood is treated. Because it's the same method: destabilization, defaming your leadership, right? Look at Kwame Kilpatrick in Detroit. As soon as the Black leaders stepped over the line, all of a sudden somebody got a folder on him. He's a pervert. He's this. He's that. It's the same methodology.
Methodology. And I talked about that earlier, Baba.
Yeah, Tulsa, Black Wall Street wasn't destroyed by bombs. It was destroyed by integration. It was destroyed by highways being built right down the middle of the community. It was destroyed by Black flight, leaving the community, going into other communities, right? Look at the average hood right now. Hoods are colonies. Black neighborhoods, working class Black neighborhoods are colonies. We do not control the politics and economics inside of working class Black neighborhoods.
No, we don't.
We do not. When last time I lived in the hood, some Asian people owned every house on my block because everybody was renting. Black home ownership inside of a lot of Black neighborhoods has declined. Gentrification on the rise. So the hood is a colony. It's the same thing. A foreign entity coming in and controlling the natural resources inside of your community. That's what's going on in Venezuela. If you understand that, you understand what you're facing right here at home.
Absolutely. And Baba, it seemed like everybody, Dr. Asar, he said the same thing, that he kind of said it succinctly, but the same thing that we talked about at the beginning, just it being the same playbook. You seen it? And Baba, I talked about Saddam Hussein. I said, we saw it in the war in Iraq. He's a weapons of mass destruction. He's a dictator. We're going in. Same thing they're doing with Venezuela. It's drugs and he's a dictator and we're going in. you know,
Right.
and then they do this regime change, and basically they just putting a puppet in power. That's all.
That's
Somebody
all.
that they can
That's
control.
But it's hard to have democracy in a country like Venezuela, because soon as you do it, you got somebody like the United States that wants to all your opposition is automatically funded. Whoever the United States wants in power, they automatically have a blank check.
Absolutely.
So if you put a system like ours in place, it's the same thing that we go through. We don't know who's best for America because we only see the ones that have the money to get in our face.
Yeah.
If you don't have, you know what I'm saying? So you put that same system somewhere else, that's not a democracy. That's not freedom.
Baba, what they try to do is they say, well, look at us. After they didn't pillage people, murdered people, and all these other things, and they say, well, look, why don't you just do what we've created here? Right. Democracy.
Right. And it's not a democracy
because it's no threat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We have a one-party system, a one-party, two-faction political system that dominates this country. Hugo Chavez was in power before Maduro, right? Before Chavez, guess what they had? They had a government that the United States loved. It was a one-party, two-faction, or it was the exact same playbook as the United States before Chavez took over and started putting social reforms in place, and the state took over the oil companies and that sort of thing. That's when the United States says, that's an evil regime. But the only freedom that the United States is interested in is free markets. That's it.
Democracy has made us powerful. We're going to forget all the slavery and all the rest of the things that we've done. It's democracy which has done it.
Yes, because when you give people a choice, they're going to choose for 10% of the people to have all of the money.
Exactly. Baba being facetious. He said, well, Baba, if you give people a chance to choose, what you say? They're going to choose
3% of the people to have 97% of the wealth. Who wouldn't want that?
Absolutely. Who wouldn't want that?
Who wouldn't want 2 million people in their prisons?
See, that joke was above my sickness, but I got it.
Yeah, it was. He was being smart. He was being facetious when he said that. Like he was being sarcastic. Like he's being sarcastic.
I'm just saying, of course, this is a democracy. I mean, who wouldn't want the majority of the people to have to split up about 3% of the money? I mean, that's what freedom looks like.
Yeah, and Trump and them, man, they getting ready to get rich. That's what this about. They taking over Venezuela. He's getting ready. Baba, look, they already rich. They getting ready to get dumb rich, Baba. They getting ready to get $17 trillion worth of oil now under control.
Russian, China already condemning it and calling for the release. And China owns a lot of assets here. America operates at a trade deficit. We export way less than we import, and we exchange. That's another reason why the dollar has value, because we give foreign money. Foreign countries like China American dollars, because they're going to reinvest some of it back into America. So they might get rich, but they might turn around and have to let that dude go and sit down. And you look up and you got Elon Musk just converted all of his money into Chinese yuan. And we go, what?
I'm convinced though, Baba, that Trump ain't worried about no money. I'm convinced, Dr. Mayat, that Trump ain't worried about no money. I am convinced that Trump is trying to be called in white people's libations. I'm convinced that he wants his name in that's their history books. And he doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. He wants to be known as someone who has conquered, who has extended the what's the word I said earlier? I can't think. Empire. Yeah, he wants to be known as something like Alexander the Great. He wants to be known as something like a Mussolini. He wants to be he doesn't care if it's negative or positive. When he was trying to get the what's the award that they give, like the Nobel Peace Prize, he was trying to be peaceful. Now he's like, that didn't work. Let me turn this shit up.
Yeah,
the other way. Because they said that bad
wars. Yeah, he tried to. Y'all didn't go along with him, Doc. He said, I stopped 8 wars. Y'all didn't go along with him. So
they didn't go along with it. They said that's children, and he's a child in old form. Children will find a way to get the attention. So those who can get it with their intelligence, they'll get it that way. And those who that just ain't their thing, they begin to become. They start to travel with the bag with the other crowd. So if I can't get it with how smart I am, I'm gonna get it how bad I am. I'm gonna get the attention.
I see a lot of people saying, well, we need to just be worried about what we have going on at home. We do.
Yep.
If you ain't already doing that,
We talked
then
about
we
that,
need,
Bob.
we need to talk. Like if you weren't doing that before Venezuela, I got a question. You know what I'm saying? I got to question you. You know, of course, we got to be worried about what we're doing, investing in our children right here at home. You know,
absolutely.
But a lot of our programs don't make it because we drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't get started. Come think, well, I just need to go get this grant. Once this grant come through, that grant ain't coming through. You ain't reading. We can't wait for the grant to come through. Well, when the Democrats get back in office, we can do this. Okay, but what happens when they're not in office no more?
Right.
So we keep riding this roller coaster because we're not paying attention to everything that's going on around us. You know, and that's why we get caught up in these cycles. We still saying stop the violence. I've been saying stop the violence since 1992. I'm tired.
Bob said, I'm tired.
Bob, the same thing.
And Bob, I do want to say this. You're right. People are coming out. You're right. China and Russia. People are coming out and demanding the release of. I keep saying his name is Maduro, but I keep hearing some people say Maduro's. You know, with that they roll that D and that U. But also leading international law scholars, right? And you know, have characterized this whole thing as they called it. It was illegal under international law. And somebody in the chat said when you're in that America doesn't respect international law. But a lot of people are coming out and they're saying, man, they are violating international law. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, and so I did a little quick chat GPT. I just chat GPT'd it real quick. Like, you know, is that true? And chat GPT came back and said, yeah, it is true. It says the UN Charter prohibits the use of force against territorial integrity or political independence of another state unless the state acts in self-defense. It says after an armed attack or the UN Security Council authorizes the action. And it says in this case, Venezuela did not attack the United States. So there was no recognized basis for self-defense. And the U.S. did not have Security Council authorization for the military operation, right?
And that's unprecedented.
And that's what people keep saying. So they said that, you know, this has never happened. So they said people are viewing this thing as widely, you know, viewing this thing as just illegal. They said it's illegal. It's unlawful use of force, right? Because of self-defense grounds and a UN Security Council authorization. So he did some gangster stuff, you know.
Oh, it's real gangster. I mean, it's the same playbook, but the cover-up ain't there. Like, and that's what they're arguing over. Like, you know, that's why this is bipartisan. The Democrats ain't mad that it happened. They mad because, man, we usually do the cover up. We usually put, you know, when JFK killed Patrice Lumumba, he wasn't there. He didn't come on TV the next day and say, yeah, we got Lumumba.
Yeah.
You know, he mourned with everybody else. Right. And so now this is unprecedented because they're saying, no, it's important. For some reason, they're saying, no, it's important that people know that we don't have to follow the rules. That's a part of the message. We don't have off the heels of Israel with Netanyahu showing that he don't have to follow international law.
Absolutely, Baba.
Yeah.
You know, he don't even lie hard no more. They used to lie hard when they go in and kill Palestinians and create. They like we tired of lying. We just want devil in the open. We just gonna. This the internet age. Why are we telling people? Why are we acting like, you know,
this ain't right? This ain't what it is.
Let's just make our own rules. Go do what we got to do and tell the world what you're gonna do about it.
Facts, Baba. And before we get ready to close out, Baba. But before we do, I want to shout out Queen Mother Tara R. Scott. She said it was a pleasure briefly meeting Dr. Ma'at on New Year's Day at Black Swan, which is Black owned and operated restaurant here in downtown Baltimore. Next time you and wifey come up, Baba, we got to definitely dine at Black Swan. And next time you all come through, she said beautiful energy. And so likewise, my sister, it was beautiful energy. And it was crazy, Bob. I got to tell y'all what happened really quickly. So I'm in Black Swan with my aunt and my aunt's best friend. We literally just finished coming from a day party. So I'm at the party. You know, I'm at the party. I come in here. She saw me in my mink. And Dr. Asar wasn't the black mink. It was the caramel mink.
Oh, you got flavors.
I got my mink on. I'm walking in Black Swan, you know. And so Dr. Saul was joking me when I posted the picture of me and Barbara Browder. Me and Barbara Browder. We were taking a picture and I had my make on, and Dr. Asar was messing with me at the thing, like calling me Frank Lucas. But anyway, so
Francine Lucas.
Francine Lucas. So look, I went to Black Swan and I'm sitting at the table with my aunt and her best friend, and we get up and I walk past this table, Baba, and I hear it was a student, and he's like, Doc, he called Dr. Bailey, Dr. So he said, Dr. Bailey, hey, how you doing? I graduated, I think he said he graduated summer of 2024, summer of 2025. But, he was telling me what was going on with him and, his job situation. And I didn't really, his face looked familiar, but I didn't quite, make the connection. Because, Baba, I mean, you know how it is where we teach a lot of people. And so then you get that student. But I do know this, he didn't give me any trouble. Because I always remember the ones that didn't give me. So obviously he was a good student. He didn't give me any trouble. So I was talking to him. And then his mother, she said, you know her as Dr. Beth. I know her as Dr. Ma'at. I watch her podcast. I'm sitting there. I said, golly, it just came full. It came full circle. So with him, and then Mama was like, as that, the engineering college professor. I know as Dr. Ma'at. I watch her on YouTube. And I said, Mommy, your mama locked in? He said, yeah. He said, my mother is locked in. And she said, I'm gonna pull up on you on Sunday when you go live. And she kept her promise. So Mama Tara R. Scott, Mama Scott, I do appreciate you for pulling up. And you said my energy was beautiful. Your energy was absolutely beautiful. You did a wonderful job with your son. So keep on being a fantastic, phenomenal, amazing Black woman mother that you are. So I just wanted to pour into her as well. Baba, and I'm mad at you because you didn't respond to my text message.
What text message?
Look at him. I got it right here, Baba. I got it right here. I left you.
I think we had a talk about you and your obsession with every text being returned and
not every text.
Well,
important text.
Certain people.
Yeah, important text.
I get in trouble with you once a year behind a text message.
He does, Dr. Asar. He does.
And the older I get, the more text messages I miss. Okay, you just got to charge it to my head, not my heart. All right.
I was wait. I asked you a question like 3 days ago. I was waiting for Baba to answer my question like 3 days ago, Baba.
Text message.
It was 3 days ago. Dr. Asar was 3 days ago.
Oh boy.
3 days ago.
Look, he looked very very young until he started talking about his age just now. I don't know what happened just now. I just saw the elder just came down on you. Like
they make me old.
They
make me old, man.
Bob is not old.
I bet you he looked younger than he is though.
Bob is not old. Bob is not old. Now
my apologies. You know what?
He's an elder in wisdom, though. I will say
elder
that.
in wisdom.
In wisdom, absolutely. He's an elder in wisdom.
40?
53.
53. All right.
Bob looking like 30.
I'm about all your books now.
All right.
Bob looking like he's 35. Bob, stop playing.
Tell me I'm 40. I'm buying all your books, Dr. Asar. What's going on, man? What? Let me go up to T-Nat and go shopping. Hold on. No, my bad, Dr. Ma'at. I thought I responded to this.
Told you. I asked you a question, but it's all good. But Bob, what you said, it ain't no, I don't be like every single text. It ain't that. If I have a question though, Bob, you know what I mean? Like if I ask a question.
Y'all see Dr. Ma'at as a sweetie pie. Let's just keep that a buck. Hold on, y'all. Y'all see it right here in real life, in real form. She is a sweetie pie. Yeah. And that's all this is displaying, right? Baba, answer my text because I respect you and respond to yours.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
If Baba texts me, I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna tell you like that. If Baba texts me,
pretty delayed responses from some texts that I done sent.
I'm
pretty delayed. I ain't saying they didn't come. But it'd be pretty delayed sometimes.
It'd be pretty delayed.
Let's have some. Don't scrunch them lips to the side.
I had to go like this. Dr. Saw on them. I had to go like this on them.
I've been under the well and scrambling. No excuses though.
She do have some delay. Look, I'm gonna back you up a little bit. She do have some delay because when she
they tag teaming me.
Delayed response,
I backed up off of it.
I'm gonna tell you what's going on. Like if I send her a text, I realize that if she doesn't respond, she's thinking about it.
You know what? You know what?
She's
Or writing a
processing like,
paper, you
hmm.
know, she might
Like,
be
cause
writing
she's
a
not
whole
gonna just
paper,
like,
you know what I'm
she's
saying?
gonna think about it. Like, okay, is that something I really want to do? Hold up, let's really think about this. She
You
probably
know, you know when y'all brothers text me, I come running. I start what I'm doing. I come running because I
You
love both
will.
of
I ain't
y'all
even
to
lie.
death.
You be like, Bob, I'm in the middle of writing a 200-page dissertation. But because you text me, I'm texting you back. You gonna let us know though.
I'll hit you
You gonna
back.
let us.
Let
But
me
she
think.
is. You are.
Yeah.
You're correct, sister. My sincerest apologies. Charge it to my head and not my heart.
No, I never charge it to your heart, Bob. I never charge it to
Right,
your heart.
right,
I never
right,
charge it to
right,
your heart. I
right.
was going to text
I
you tomorrow, though.
appreciate
I
you
was
so
going to
much.
text you
We had
tomorrow.
such a beautiful camp. The UACI STEM camp is off the chain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
put the link in there earlier. I'll do it again. I told them, Baba, that this cycle we taking 50 students. I told them this cycle 50 students, man. 50 students.
Let's
That's
do it.
it.
Let's do
So
it.
yeah, I think we can do it. We had what 38. We had about 50 people registered the last time.
Mhm.
38 showed up, and I think this year we can push it to 50. I think we could push it to 50.
I'm with it. You know the
Yeah,
team is trained and ready, so
yeah.
let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Let's do it, family. So make sure that you go to uacistemcamp.com and Baba, plug the Uhuru Academy before we get out of here. Please
Easy.
plug
I
the
stay
Uhuru
ready, keep them getting ready. And I got to sip my tea because I just ain't coughed while I've been on here. But yo, the UhuruAcademy.com, we're the greatest online African-centered program on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. It's a live, transformative experience. Go to uhuruacademy.org or uhuruacademy.com. It's never too late to liberate your child from the public food system. It's never too late. If you're a Black homeschooling parent and you need some Black up and you need some partnerships, you need to holler at the Uhuru Academy. We celebrating year 15, so I ain't telling you what I'm gonna do. I ain't telling you something that somebody else told me. It's 15 years of proven Black excellence, and we are always enrolling. UhuruAcademy.com, UhuruAcademy.org. And if you want to, if you want a parent testimonial, you got one right here on Truth to Power Talk. That's
absolutely, absolutely one of the best decisions I made in the past 4 years. One of the best decisions that I made in 4 years. And actually, I think Baba, those two young guys, Zaire and Zion, they might be signing up. And also Malaya, her grandmother. So I've been having conversations with parents, behind the scenes. And I was like, boom, I hit you, give y'all Baba Amin's address so we can make that happen. So one of the best decisions I made.
Give thanks.
Family. Yep, but hold on, brothers, before y'all get out of here. I just want to tell the family, make sure that you join me back here next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before you get out of here, family, thumb up the video. Thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, family, share this build. This was a powerful build tonight. A lot of good information. So share this build. And lastly, family, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you will be notified. And it's the new year. We're back. I took a break for a couple of weeks because of the holidays, the holy days, but I'm back, family. So make sure you're here every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I saw the Maadian family in the building, saw Queen Rashamella's in the building. I saw her. I saw Baba Gregory Torrance. I saw who else I saw? I saw the great Dr. Craig Samuel is in the building. So a lot of the regulars were in the building. Appreciate you all for always pulling up. Love you all. Peace and Black African excellence.